Hello everyone! Today in this video I'll be discussing the reasons behind the character designs. Keep in mind that this is just speculation, because I can't find every reason for a character to have that look or characteristics. The main characteristics and meanings that I found interesting were the colors within the characters and some clothing items. So let's begin with the Alola region protagonists, Helio and Selene, both original and recent designs. Just keep in mind that sometimes I will refer to Helio and Selene as their game version name. For example, Helio's old design will be Sun and Selene's new design will be Ultramoon. I searched on both designs, but I couldn't find the reasons for some of the design choices. So, I'm going to come up with some, hehe. Let us begin with the male protagonist, Helio. Helio's design is the epitome of casual and tourist clothing. Almost nothing combines.
Ooh, girl.
But still, I personally prefer the design on Pokémon Sun. I find aesthetically pleasing the long hair that somewhat resembles his mother in the game. Even with his hat off, he has the same bangs and two hairs on top of his head like the mother. Clothing-wise, Sun has a black baseball cap, blue and white striped shirt, to give him that navy look of the beach, baggy dark brown pants with some red elements, but why it is brown and red, I have no clue. Just to be different, I suppose. A comfy, strange-looking shoe, and a nice backpack. Sun's clothes also resemble one of a normal kid going to school, or in this case starting a new journey. Comfy and fresh clothes for the Alola weather, and a cap to look cool and protect his adorable head of the harsh sun of the region. Now for Helio's design on Ultra Sun and Ultramoon. One aspect that a lot of people already mentioned is that the shorts resemble the ones Nate wears in Pokémon Black 2 and White 2. We love matching brothers. In terms of overall design, Ultra Sun haircut and clothes are more reminiscent of the Alola region, that's surrounded by the vast sea and hot weather. The main colors being blue and white, and the clothes used seem those of someone that's ready for a swim at the beach, with the navy shorts and a nice red ribbon, the sleeveless shirt and a red hat that a lot of children use. In my honest opinion, these clothes are well put together compared to Sun's, and like I said, fits Alola even better. It even reminds me of a sailor. Maybe that was the main idea actually. With both of the boys finished, it's time to go see the girls. Before people point this out, no, Selene, it's not Chicken-chan. I mean, it can be in your hearts, but in reality, the hat is actually a flower when you see it from the top. Unlike Mr. Sun over there, Moon doesn't resemble the mother character as much in my opinion. It's not a problem in any way, don't get me wrong, just wanted to point that out. Another funny aspect is that both Moon and Ultramoon have a theme revolving around flowers, it being represented in their hats and shirts. Beautiful. In terms of design, Moon has a funny reddish hat that I mentioned before, a cream tone shirt with pink and yellow flowers that has a notch on the front, small teal colored shorts that are so short that if she had a bigger ass, we would probably see the cheeks, and a pair of comfy shoes. We also can't forget the watermelon bag. I'm not sure what it has to do with the flower theme, but it looks adorable. and its colors match some elements of the outfit, so it's a pass. Moon is also packing a cute medium bob haircut, with the hair curving out on each side. In my opinion, this haircut has to do with the heat of Alola, where shorter hair is preferable, and its overall cute look that the fans will definitely enjoy. However, Selene in Ultramoon and Ultra Sun had a total makeover like Helio did. Some people were even making jokes and shipping Lily with Moon, because Ultramoon looked like a fusion between the two, due to the haircut looking like Lily's braids and the fringe and side hairs resembling Moon's. The new design featured a straw hat with flowers, an orange flower-shaped shirt on the bottom with a reddish flower pattern, a cream-colored short, and a pair of sandals. But this time, her bag is just an average one with a Pokeball symbol. Since Alola is based on Hawaii, which is known by their flowers and flower necklaces, makes a lot of sense for Moon and Ultramoon to have all these flower patterns and symbols attached to them. Selene's new design reflects the Alola weather with her fresh clothing and straw hat. These type of clothing are worn by tourists and people that want to look fashionable and cute during the summer. With the protagonists concluded, it's time to go to our friends and rivals. The first character that I will address is How. How is an adorable cinnamon roll that many people enjoy, mostly as a companion and someone to share our journey. His design has similarities to his grandparent and kahuna, Hala. For example, the hair tied up in a bun, the bushy thick-ass eyebrows, the skin color, and the cherry personality. It's very visible that they're indeed family. How's clothing consists of 2 yellow hairpins, a questionable black t-shirt, we'll get into that, an orange large shorts with dark orange and white flower patterns, orange sandals, and an orange backpack to put all the delicious malasadas. However, there's always been an aspect that made me think about How's design, more specifically his shirt. I'm aware that for a character design some choices don't need big meanings behind them, but it always confused me on why such a happy-go-lucky character wears a black t-shirt, especially in Alola. Because the weather is very hot and he's no edgy Gladian. Usually, for this type of characters, I see more of bright colors, like his shorts for example. Orange, yellows, baby blues and green. There can be dark colors for contrast, but pure black? I find it strange. But with the arrival of Ultra Sun, Ultramoon, we saw a side of How that we never seen before, which is emphasized in some of the artworks. That new side was the desire to surpass his grandpa Hala, to be the best How he can be, showing us a bit of a dark side. It's not that dark, but it's interesting seeing it in this character. Maybe that was what his shirt represented all along. His desire to be something more, and his deep sadness of not being able to achieve bigger goals like he wished. Like surpassing Hala and even defeating us. Oh, I forgot to mention. Like you can see on his clothes, How is a fan of orange, that symbolizes joy, warmth, sunshine, enthusiasm, encouragement, change, determination, and fun. Basically everything that makes How, well, How. In general, How's look, especially the pin hair, sandals and flower shorts, reminds me a lot of hot summer, and the Hawaii vibe mainly comes from his shorts. Also, his personality is well represented in his clothes and colors. where we mainly see his happiness, with the bigger amounts of orange, but when we dive into his personality, and later on his change of behavior in Ultra Sun Ultramoon, we see a glimmer of sadness that's represented by his only dark-colored item, his shirt. Now for the next character, Lily. Lily, throughout the story, had a big design change that a lot of people appreciated. In the first design, Lily is packing a ginormous white hat with a baby blue ribbon around it, a cute white dress with transparent outlines, a pair of long-ass socks, and blue flat shoes. She also has a bag with a Pokeball design on both sides, where she encages and enslaves Nebby that just wants to see the world. Her second design is called Z-Powered Form, where she changes her whole look. She now wears a white baggy shirt with a blue ribbon that somewhat reminds me of a sailor shirt. A very short white miniskirt with a blue line. That's bad for windy days. Like seriously, Game Freak really wants to show us some glorious butt cheeks and panties. Damn! To be fair, there isn't much to speak design-wise that Pokémon fans haven't speculated or found out. One of Lily's main design similarities is possibly based on Nihilego. This argument is better exemplified by the fact that Lucemon was the one who chose those clothes for Lily, as shown in the Pokémon Adventures manga, and the fact that we all know how obsessed Lucemon is by Nihilego. The choices of pastel and light colors, mainly white and baby blue, have a deep connotation with light that's associated with goodness, innocence, and purity. And sometimes white is considered to be the color of perfection, a trait that Lucemon wished that Lily had. Lily's similarity with Nihilego is further showcased with his Pokédex entry on Pokémon Moon. Sometimes it can be observed behaving like a young girl. When we get to know Lily better throughout our journey, we do associate her personality with these characteristics. Very kind-hearted and pure character that wants to help her mother and likes to see the good in people. Even in her Z-powered form, Lily continues to use the color white, because despite her psychological changes and the events that occurred, she's still the same pure soul. Also, in this new form, Lily has her hair tied up in a ponytail to look more sporty and show us and herself that she's ready to embark on a new journey. In conclusion, Lily's design changed due to the events that occurred. Her first design was inspired by Nihilego, while her Z-powered form is to showcase the player that she's ready to embark on a new life-changing journey, where she's going to be true to herself and overcome her fears. And let's be honest here, the first outfit isn't that practical. She may even fly through the air with that big silly hat if the wind blows strong enough. Now it's Lily's brother time to shine. Wladim is one of my favorites, if not my favorite Pokémon character. His style is 100% emo. You can see that by just looking at him. Wladim's outfit consists on a sleeveless hoodie with pointy puffed spikes around the hood and a red decoration. That reminds me of a Slash Attack scar. A slashed shirt and pants, a pair of red shoes with black laces and grey soles. And, to top it all off, making this outfit more stylish, Wladim has a red rectangular fanny pack. The main idea of Wladim's design is to express that school middle look and being emo. This edgy maquillage look is accentuated by his hair hiding his right eye and trimmed with different sizes, while the rest of his hair is shaved with a ripped design that most kids nowadays use to make them look cool. For Alola, Wladim's design is a big fat no. Unless you want to burn under the Alola sun, of course. Which in most cases, you don't. But to showcase his edginess, his design is a good indicator. He can even hide his emotions under that hood if needed. His slashed look is also a good indicator that type Null was a very complicated Pokémon to befriend. Probably Wladim's ripped clothes were caused by its claws. There isn't much more to speak about Wladim that his design doesn't demonstrate already. Even the colors that he represents are evident, but still interesting nonetheless. Black, for example, is associated with these type of emotions: power, fear, mystery, strength, authority, death, aggression, and rebellion. For Wladim, these emotions were what thrived him to run away from his family, with his newly found companion, type Null. Two characters that didn't want to live the life presented to them. So, when they managed to escape, they didn't think twice. They knew that together were strong. They maybe feared what could be in store for them, but they still rebelled and continued going forward. This feeling of fire and willpower is associated with the second main color for Wladim, red. Red can also describe strength, leadership, courage, determination, rage, and even stress. Sometimes, this color also symbolizes love, joy, and longing. It's funny to see that even the considered to be generic edgy boy has a lot of meaning and personality by just displaying these colors, which can tell a lot about him and describe his feelings from the start to finish. His rebellion and aggression towards the past, the mysterious person we met for the first time, until we see how much he loves and cares about his Pokémon and sister, the courage and determination he had to get where he is, and the joy we see in his face at the end of our journey. Of course we can't talk about Lily and Wladim without talking about their lunatic mother. Lucemon, despite having a somewhat different story in Sun and Moon and Sun Ultramoon, her personality and designs was kept the same. Lucemon wears a white dress with a black diamond badge on her chest, black and white leggings and heels. Her heels have green soles and a medium-high yellow heel. Right out of the way, Lucemon seems like a nice-hearted and warm person, someone who cares about the Pokémon of Alola and even wants to expand the Ether Foundation to the world. But guess what? She's not. From a design perspective, she doesn't show her true emotions through her outfit and colors as Lily and Wladim did. However, when you delve deep into the symbolism of Lucemon's colors, you can see that her personality reflects indeed the color she represents, it being white and yellow, with a bit of black and green. The white color for Lucemon most likely represents fate, cleanliness, safety, protection, and perfection. These feelings for Lucemon are depicted by her love for the Ether Foundation that brings safety and protection to the Pokémon in need, as well as her wanting to protect her family from any and every harm, and the faith she has for reuniting again with her husband, Mon. The perfection aspect of white is a more prominent personality feature in Pokémon Sun and Moon, where she wants to create a perfect world, where only Ultra Beasts and perfect beings like herself can reside, also shoving this idea of perfection onto Lily, wanting her to be the perfect daughter and be the most beautiful. Every important character that belongs to the Ether Foundation has a specific color in correlation with white. In this case, like I said earlier, for Lucemon, it's yellow. Yellow has two types of symbolism, and of course, Miss Minnie here went to get the bad ones. The bad side of yellow represents deceit, and the dullest of yellows that appear on Lucemon's dress as a gradient transmits the feeling of caution, sickness, and jealousy, traits that make more sense for this character. Lucemon overall is a very deceitful and sick person. She uses Kuzma's inferiority complex to befriend him and order him as she pleases. Lucemon even deceived and used the Ultra Recon Squad, saying that she's going to defeat Necrozma for their sake, even though she's doing it only for herself. In terms of sickness, in Pokémon Sun and Moon, is better demonstrated with Lucemon's obsession with Ultra Beasts, and the fact that she became paranoid after Mon's disappearance. Her sickness is not a physical one, but is psychological, a very deep and strong sickness, one of a wife that's searching in any way to bring her loved one back, but gets so obsessed with the project that ended up consuming her, no pun intended. On a side note, Yellow is also associated with childish behavior. However, this is only presented in Pokémon Sun and Moon anime, when her fusion with Nihilego is complete, where her obsession was amplified to the point where she regressed to the mindset of a spoiled child. In this state, she referred to the Ultra Beasts as her belongings, and reacted violently to those she assumed were trying to take them away from her, basically putting on a baby tantrum. The rest of the colors don't have a great importance in her personality. The black elements may represent her dark hidden secret behind the Ether Foundation facade, as well as seriousness, power, and authority. Green is the least predominant color. Therefore, the meanings aren't a big importance, but the colors may represent her wealth, greed, and ambition. Lastly, I was curious to know why the frick she has that long strange hair. She can even become a cocoon inside it. Jesus! I didn't find much, but it's still interesting. In Japan, which is where her concept was developed, long hair can be a sign of beauty and youthfulness, something that Lucemon aspires to be, so much that she looks anything but 40. And to add a spice into this, her name is based on the Impatiens balsamina. I don't know how to spell this. And its bulb does resemble Lucemon's hair in a way. Oh, I almost forgot. Yes, it's not over.
Oh no!
Lucemon had a design change in Pokémon Sun and Moon when she fused with Nihilego. In this new design, Lucemon has the same design, but it's inside Nihilego. What a surprise. This has consumed her, resulting on the change of bright colors to the dark sinister black, just like her emotions during that fight. That's all I got for Lucemon. The next character is her husband, Mon. Mon is the lost father of Wladim and Lily, and the husband of Lucemon. When we see him, he's wearing a straw hat, a sleeveless white shirt, a scarf or a jacket tied up in a knot on the front, ragged shorts with the black belt, and a pair of sandals. The choices for his clothing were well made, because when we see Mon, he reminds me of someone who's lost in a faraway place, with almost no clothes and everything looks torn and extremely used. As you may notice, I haven't mentioned the colors of the clothes. That's because in the original games, Pokémon Sun and Moon, his main color is red, while in Ultramoon and Ultrasun it's green. So let's dive into the meaning of both colors and find out the possible reasons why it was changed in the first place. One of my main thoughts initially is that every Ether Foundation member has a color attached to them. Lucemon is yellow, Faba is green, and Wick is pink. And since there was no red color member and Mon was a researcher there, it could maybe be correlated. But this can't be said with the newer version where he wears green, because Fab already wears it. I will talk about red first. Its meaning was mentioned previously on Wladim's segment, but unlike him, there is more meaning associated to Mon. For example, red is associated with joy, passion, leadership, energy, and enthusiasm. Like I said before, Mon was a researcher, and an important one. He was the main scientist studying the Ultra Beasts. The leader even. However, when we encounter him for the first time, he has lost his memory and now created a Poképelago for our boxed Pokémon, because he feels that stored Pokémon may feel lonely. That showcases us how warm and passionate he is about Pokémon. He seems to be very enthusiastic and full of joy, since he always has a smile on his face and can continue smiling even though he doesn't remember anything about his past. As you can see, red was a color that fitted Mon pretty well. Now let's see if the green symbolism is a better representation of his personality. So to start off, green is associated with life and nature, but also energy, growth, harmony, safety, environment, and rebirth. Since Mon is currently living and helping maintain the Poképelago, which is a natural environment for Pokémon to reside and have fun, these colors reflect this better. Since green is also the color of rebirth and safety, we can speculate that the rebirth for Mon was the development of these islands, giving him a meaning to life and continue working and start a new journey from scratch, instead of focusing on the past that he can't remember. The safety aspect may be linked to the fact that he's not really stuck on the island, since he traveled to the Aether Foundation after the main story, but he found comfort and stability on the islands and prefers to reside there. In my eyes, I think that both colors symbolizes Mon the best way possible. However, I believe that red fits more Pokémon Sun and Moon, since it was the first and we all wanted to know where the Ultra Beast came from, who started this investigation, and a lot of hints indicated Mon to be the main cause of this, because the color red makes more sense for this side of the story. While green is more fitting for Ultra Sun and Ultramoon, the rebirth and growth of Mon, adding the fact that he is also comfortably happy in nature, more than the city, because we know that he can travel to the city but prefers to live in the islands. Also, Mon has a white shirt that also symbolizes low weight and low fat food. Maybe originally Mon was skinny but gained weight by eating too many Pokebeans. Now, for the Aether Foundation members. Starting off with Wick, also known as the boobylicious Aether Foundation employee. She is one of the most sweet and lovable characters associated with the Aether Foundation, where she's really worried about the Pokémon and staff within the facility, rather than doing any kind of malice and dark projects as other characters. Lucemon. Wick's outfit consists on a white strange dress with yellow outline pockets, a pink sweater with a small Aether Foundation emblem, a pair of white boots with yellow heels, and a pair of big pink glasses. Wick's design just invokes a feeling of coziness and motherly affection. I think this feeling comes from the warm and pastel colors that Wick has, as well as the big glasses and smile. Her hair is also very puffy and kind of roundish, just like a big fluffy cloud. Pink is Wick's main color, and maybe this is the reason why she seems so sweet. Think I'm wrong? Then let me show you, plebs. Joking, I love you. Pink is associated with nice, sweet and cute things, tenderness, friendship, and approachability. If this doesn't describe Wick's personality, I don't know what does then. When we first meet Wick, she's very polite and friendly. Heck, she even gives us items. Can't complain. This motherly instinct and affection is also something that Lily would know, since Wick took care of her ever since Lucemon got Kukui bananas. Also, big glasses usually make people look cute and somewhat approachable and friendly. Kind of reminds me of those sweet grandmas. A fun fact, Wick's name is based on the flower Vicia. The color of the flower is purple, which resembles Wick's hair, and on top of it all, the Vicia plant is from the Fabaceae family, also known as the bean family, and Vicia is the flower of the faba bean. Also, the white outfit of all the Aether Foundation members were briefly explained on Lucemon's segment, so I won't repeat it here. Now for the other important Aether Foundation member that I love so much, Faba. This disgusting pile of trash. Whenever I see his face, I feel ashamed. Ashamed, I tell you. To tell every bean, and especially Faba beans, that he was inspired by them. Shame. People don't have respect for beans anymore. Disgusting! Faba's design is brilliant. Just by looking at him, I already see an asshole character. I myself can't make this up. But let's stop hating and start speculating. One of the reasons that Faba may look like a bad person is probably the face structure, commonly used for villains. From the big pointy nose, the long face and chin, the somewhat bald hair and tired sinister look in his eyes, and has become something so characteristic that some people associate it as bad or mean characters. In terms of clothing, Faba is wearing a white outfit bearing the symbol of the Aether Foundation with a yellow diamond-shaped decoration on his sleeves, a green undershirt, some green braces on his arms, large green glasses resembling a faba bean, and finally a pair of white boots with yellow soles and buttons. You may be wondering, but isn't Faba's main color green? Green's usually such a nice color. Well, yes, it is. However, green also has another meaning that fits Faba like a glove. Green can also be associated with money, ambition, greed, and jealousy. Like you may know, Faba's main focus is to be the president of the Aether Foundation, and he's never happy with his position and even work. He always wants more and more. His greed seems almost insatiable at this point. He's jealous of Lucemon and tries to lick her boots, to always get a higher position, and brags what he has to other employees, to the point of mistreating them, because he's higher in the hierarchy. What a nice guy. Even in the end of the game, when his rank was taken away from him, he's still a cocky asshat. Just hear these lines. Young Master Gladion is doing a fine job as the acting president of the Foundation. But don't you think it will be more appropriate to have an adult like me fill the position? Of course it needs to be an adult like him. It can't even be any other or different adult. It has to be just like Faba 100%. If you agree with his statement, he says, "You are surprisingly intelligent for a child." Still undermining children, mind you. And if you disagree, he's just the same guy. Here's what he says. "This is why I hate dealing with I find it so interesting talking to children." I know this is a character design video, but I just wanted to show how much I dislike him. But in terms of character, this is probably one of the best characters created to hate, and being overall a bad guy, from his attitude to his design. I know some people who like him.
Can't relate.
I'm not gonna talk much about the other Aether employees, because there isn't much talk about them, because everything I said about the clothes and colors describes them. Now it's time for your big bad boy Kuzma to appear. I cringe every time I need to say this. Kuzma overall is an interesting character to look at. First off, I'll start by describing his whole look. Kuzma has white hair on top and black hair at the bottom, dark eyes and straight black eyebrows. He wears a black jacket with a zigzag pattern on both sides of his jacket, which has a Team Skull logo on the back. He also wears a white shirt, some black pants with 2 white X's under his knees, and a pair of white shoes. Kuzma also has a purple tattoo of Team Skull on his left arm and a golden watch, while on his right hand there are black and white bracelets. He also wears sunglasses with a golden frame and a yellow necklace that has the logo of Team Skull. By looking at Team Skull in general, we get a gangster vibe from them.
You picked the wrong house, fool!
Hey, Big Smoke! It's me, Carl! Chill!
CJ? Oh, my dog! What's up?
More specifically, the South California gangs. Most of the gangsters have signature looks and clothing items. More generically speaking, when we think about the gangster culture, we see them wearing baggy clothes, gold watches and gold necklaces, as well as bandanas, a lot of tattoos, even the squats and hand gestures. Even though squats are usually associated with Russia, but it counts. Which, funny enough, all the Team Skull members have one of these characteristics. But let's go back to ya boy. As many of you may know, Kuzma had a bad past. From his dad possibly beating him with a golf club, Kuzma also not being able to get a gold trophy in his life, implying that he has always been in a second or third place, and being rejected from becoming a trial captain. As you can see, Kuzma's life hasn't been a good one. This will influence the explanation that I'll create regarding the decision and name for Team Skull and Kuzma's clothes. Embrace yourselves, because right now I will become Lockstin, bringing to you a little bit of alchemy and some intelligent things. First, I'll start with the iconic logo. The skull symbol may come from the alchemic skull, Caput Mortuum, meaning rejected material, uselessness, decline, and decay. The other big evidence is the skull's eye, that resembles one of the main characteristics of the Caput Mortuum. And, as we know, Team Skull was founded by a rejected trial captain, with his members also coming from a declining life, where none could become a good trainer and trial goers. Literally, Team Skull is the definition of Caput Mortuum. Now that we know the meaning behind the decision of the Caput Mortuum as the main logo for Team Skull, and why it represents this sad side of Kuzma, we can now go to the clothing. Even though Team Skull resembles more the South California gangsters, Kuzma on the other hand looks more like the Slavs from Russia. For me personally, I wanted to know more about Kuzma's clothes. It can't be this simple, right? It can't just be because he's based on the Slav culture. Well, it can. But I'll dive into the colors and see if I can find something, or anything, at this point. Well. With my little eye, I found some meanings to these colors. White so far has been one of the most common colors in these characters apparently. But for Kuzma, it represents innocence. The fact that he's insecure and gullible towards Lucemon, because he thought that she respected him as a capable trainer. But it doesn't end here. Wa also means goodness, and you may be asking, Kuzma is a good guy? What?
NANI?
Well, yes.
Are you sure about that?
I mean, he has a Galissapod that probably evolved from a considered weak Pokémon, Wimpod. And after the events of the Ultra Beasts, Kuzma showed a side willing to change, by disbanding Team Skull, but still supporting his crew members and caring for them with Plumeria, as well as helping the player during the Team Rocket event. Meanwhile, the opposite of white, it's black. And for black, it's a bit easier since it represents power, fear, strength, authority, evil, aggression, and rebellion. The most common traits that we associate with Kuzma. From creating an evil group that steals Pokémon, from him beating others, having anger issues, running away from home, and feeling satisfaction from scaring people and Pokémon. Overall, Kuzma's design still has some questions. From his brows extremely close to his eyes, maybe to make him look more menacing, at least it works, to his strange white and black haircut, probably to make him look more memorable and to symbolize the punk hairstyle. I'm not sure either, this is all I could find honestly. After the Ultra Beast events, Kuzma fixes his glasses, takes away every Team Skull logo that he possesses, even crossing the skull on his hoodie and getting rid of his tattoos. That's commitment. But for what I found about this design, it shows us very well everything that Kuzma has to offer, from his past to his future. No wonder the Pokémon community overall loves Kuzma. I'm not a part of it, I'm not a fan of this character, sorry. With Kuzma out of the paper, the next character to talk about, it's the one and only Alola Queen of the Poison types, Plumeria. In all honesty, Plumeria's design has been one of the most fascinating to me, from the strange hairstyle to her overall sexy and cool look. She has golden yellow eyes and pink hair with yellow highlights. She wears a black sleeveless suit that resembles a tank top with an X pattern under it, black baggy pants with white zigzag patterns, and grey sneakers. Plumeria also wears a black bracelet on her left arm, a grey pendulum with a Team Skull logo, and a pink skull tattoo on her belly. After Team Skull is disbanded, she changed her look. This time, she wears a dark purple raspberry colored bandana with Salazzle's patterns on her head, a Z ring on her right wrist, but only appears during battle, I don't know why, but it happens, and matching pants to her bandana. She loses the Team Skull necklace, tattoo, bracelet, and the eyeshadow. Now for the possible reasons why Plumeria may look the way she does. One of her most iconic elements, in my opinion, is her hair. The only reason I can find for her hairstyle is the same as Kuzma's, probably to show how punk they are, I guess. In terms of her colors, Plumeria hair has two colors found in the flower that inspired her name. The Plumeria flower has many color variations, one of them being pink and yellow, or yellowish, just like her hair. Outfit-wise, her clothes resemble the Latina gangsters, with the tank top shirts and the baggy pants, and her tattoo and necklace also send us a gangster vibe, just like Kuzma. The black and white that Plumeria wears, both in clothes and makeup, is probably to showcase that she belongs to Team Skull and that they are a villain group. But for her distinctive colors, the yellow and pink, despite being one of the colors of the flowers, it can describe a bit of her attitude towards her teammates and others. For example, pink is considered to be a feminine and tender color, but it's also a color of universal love of oneself and others, and it also represents friendship, affection, harmony, inner peace, and approachability. When we play the game, Plumeria, despite being hostile towards us at the beginning, we can see that she is simply protecting the members of Team Skull, because she's considered to be their big sister, their female role model. But at the same time, this side of her makes her more approachable than the Team Skull members and Kuzma. Also adding to Plumeria's behavior, pink gemstones are believed to bring serenity and neutralizes disorder, demonstrating that she is what keeps Team Skull united and organized. Adding as well to Plumeria's femininity is her room that has 2 plushies on top of her bed. And finally, her tattoo, that's located in a suggestive area. This location, for me at least, is very feminine, showing us more of the motherly sister love of Plumeria towards her family, Team Skull. On a side note, another aspect that I find kind of funny about Plumeria is her almost non-existing eyebrows. Maybe I should share a bit of my thick brows to her. That's all I got for Plumeria. The Team Skull grunts don't have a lot to talk about, because like the Ether Foundation employees, most of the aspects and themes were mentioned on the previous characters. With the villainous themes mentioned, I'm going to focus on the professor of the region, Kukui, which has ties with Kuzma. This was a good segment, I know. He's probably one of the hottest professors of Alola so far. Sorry, Professor Sycamore. He claimed your throne of the hottest and youngest of all. The thing that made people more shocked than anything else was Kukui's shirtless body. I know it's Alola and we have a lot of beaches and all, but sir, isn't that too much? You're gonna shock the kids. But let's continue. Kukui wears a white hat with a rainbow decoration in front. He also wears glasses with a jade-colored frame, a white lab coat with rolled-up sleeves, grey baggy pants with a jade stripe and white ribbon. The shoes are jade-colored and have a white outline. Professor Kukui has a grey ring on his ring finger, maybe to symbolize that he is married to Professor Burnett, which he is. At least in the anime, they made an episode specifically focused on their marriage. Pretty cute, I will say. Kukui's clothes are very casual and comfortable, especially with those baggy pants, just like his chilled and calm personality. One thing I want to point out regarding his cap is that the rainbow contains the colors red, blue, green, and yellow, which are the colors of the first Kanto games. Pokémon Green, Red, Blue, and Yellow. Maybe that was their intention for this choice of colors, to pay homage to the older games. There isn't much to mention about Kukui's design. His white coat seems to be a staple on the professor's fashion. Almost all of them have white coats. Except Professor Rowan, he has a brown one. Let's continue with the white coat statement. White coats are associated with laboratory work and investigation. That's why they all have one. At least, I think. It makes sense, after all. Now delving to the colors. And I will start with Jade. This color is a variant of green. As a green color, it can symbolize life, energy, harmony, freshness, and safety. Green is also soothing, relaxing, and a youthful color. Just like Kukui, who would have thought? It is also an emotionally positive color, giving us the ability to love and nurture ourselves and others unconditionally. This can be seen in Kukui's behavior in the games and anime, where he houses Lily and Ash and takes care of them with the help of his wife. Green also brings with it a sense of hope, health, adventure, and renewal, as well as self-control, compassion, and harmony. This color also relates to stability and endurance, giving us persistence and the strength to cope with adversity. The endurance aspect comes from Kukui having a showdown with Rockruff at the start of the game. The next color I'm gonna talk about is gray. It's so strange to see this color on Kukui. Gray is usually such a depressing and emotionless color. I searched on a variety of websites on the meanings behind gray, and only a little bit suited Kukui, it being the more lighted tones of gray, that's similar to his pants color. The light shades of gray are soothing and calming. It enlightens, saves, and rescues those in difficult situations. Doesn't this remind you of something? If you're thinking about that time you helped Lily when she was in need, then yes. If not, well, it happens, don't worry. However, the normal tones of gray are conventional, dependable, and practical. It is a color of maturity and responsibility. This is actually all I could find regarding the gray having similarities with Kukui's personality. But this can be connected to his previous relationship with Kuzma. They were both trial goers and seemed like really close friends, until Kukui decided to change his life course and become a professor to help others and build a Pokémon League. The gray may be the sadness and depression he feels for leaving Kuzma behind. This is just speculation, I'm not really sure if this happened or not. I actually wonder if in the anime and manga they'll focus a bit on the past of these two. This is all I could find about Kukui and his clothing choices. I also forgot to mention that his pants look also sporty, which may refer to his adventurous and outgoing nature and his small gym inside his laboratory. Yes, he has a gym inside his laboratory, in case you don't know. But we cannot talk about Kukui without talking about his beautiful wife, Professor Burnett. Bernette is a very interesting character, because her first appearance wasn't even in Pokémon Sun and Moon, but it was in Pokémon Black 2 and White 2. In those games, she was introduced in the Pokémon radar as a professor who studied the space between reality and dreams. But after that, I presume, she met Kukui and went to live with him in Alola, and now she studies the Ultra Wormholes. This change of location also made her look a bit more tan. But for this video, I'll be only focusing on her new look. One aspect that I want to mention about her new concept is the clothes around her waist, which I think it resembles her old costume, with the black and orange colors. Burnett wears a grey vest with 2 blue stripes on the bottom and black stirrup pants. She also wears green flat shoes and a green headband at the back of her head. She also wears a necklace with her wedding ring hanging on it. But just like Kukui, her personality doesn't shine that much in the colors that she has, except her yellow eyes and probably her white hair. During our journey through Alola, we didn't get to know Burnett that much, outside of her being adventurous, positive, and caring for Lily after she found her on the beach. Like I said about Kukui, Burnett's grey vest is to resemble the savings and rescues of those in a difficult life. Also having a mature, dependable, practical, and responsible personality. Now for her black pants. Black in my eyes represents Burnett's elegance and sophistication. Black also represents sexy and mysterious personality. These descriptions, I admit, are rather far-fetched, but just go with it. But I'm not going to deny it. I find her pretty attractive and rather mysterious, especially with her past self working in Unova, never really being mentioned that much in the games either. Going out of track, let's go back to the colors. Now for her eyes, which is yellow. In my opinion, this is the one that represents Burnette's personality the most. What can I say? Eyes are the window to the soul. Yellow for Burnette's personality represents happiness, positivity, clarity, energy, optimism, intellect, loyalty, and joy. Her positive attitude can be seen through the game and also in the anime. That she's very optimistic, has a little crush on the Masked Royale, but still keeps herself loyal to Kukui and the love she has for him. Pretty sweet. She simply just shines with energy. Also, we can't forget about Burnette's interesting white hair. I don't know what's up with the haircut, but the color white also suits her a little bit. For example, white represents purity, light, goodness, heaven. Probably what Lily thought after waking up and seeing Burnette. Safety, understanding, and protection. There are much more meanings, but these suffice to prove my point. That Burnette is almost like an angel for a lot of characters, giving safety and protection to those in need. Purity is also a funny emotion to describe her, because of the already mentioned little crush she has, despite not knowing that Masked Royale is her husband, even though almost everyone knows at this point except her. I swear, after this video, people will think that Burnette is the next Mother Teresa. Well, this is all I have for these couple goals and this video. There is still a ton of characters to talk about, but I'll leave them for another video. I want to thank you all for watching this video, especially those that saw it till the very end. I really appreciate it, thanks. Until then, like, subscribe, you guys already know the drill. And I hope to see you all on my next video. Stay tuned, my friends.